Playground.
Hooray!
This is the Darren Harris Podcast. Here's your host, Darren Harris.
Hey folks, what's up? Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Darren Harris. This is my podcast. Thank you for joining me. I do appreciate it. How's your mental health this week, folks? Man, after this past couple of weeks, mine is real shaky as of lately. Got some big concerns, things in the news. Today I'm talking about felonies and the shit you can and can't do if you have one. So let's just start by saying this. We've had an unprecedented event in the last couple of weeks. And that is, for the first time in history, somebody that served as president, somebody that's running as president, presidential candidate, has been indicted on 34 counts. 34 felony counts. 34 felonies. So a lot of people are like, wow, that's great. He could be disqualified. No, you can't be disqualified for running for a presidency, for being a president, if you have a felony. But there's a lot of places that you can't work. There's a lot of shit you can't do if you have a felony. I mean, simple shit. There's shit that they just blacklist you if you have it's like simple shit. Like every now and then McDonald's might hire one felon. But generally, if you got a felony, they not really even trying to look your way. Chick-fil-A and all kind of places like that. Even places like that. Real hard pressed to find a felon working. Some places might cut you a little bit of slack, but there's a lot of places out there that just really won't do it. There's places that won't do it for a lot of different reasons. Some are like security reasons that you can't be a felon, or that they deem felons unworthy to work in these industries. But a lot of felons get a bad rap. I mean, there's felons sitting in jail with like one felony, can't do shit. You know, I mean, they get out of jail, and their whole life is, essentially ruined. And eventually they get, caught back up in the system, and they end up back in the system. And that's where they end up. And that's very unfortunate and extremely tragic. And it seems to be like a thing here. It's a thing that we use to make revenue in this country, is the demonization and the criminalization of men, of especially young black minorities, black men in particular. I mean, there are some white people that get caught up in the system, but this whole system, let's make no mistake about it, this whole system of trying to incarcerate a motherfucker and slapping motherfuckers with multiple shit so they don't get out of jail, that shit is for us. That shit was made for us. You know what I'm saying? That shit was made for us and motherfuckers who do heinous shit, which motherfuckers have done heinous shit and still gotten off. And then this dude down here that sold a couple of joints laced with some PCP, he got 50 years for every joint he sold, which is a bit lopsided. And it is. It really is. But people don't really take that into consideration. They really don't consider that to be a double standard. They think a lot of times that justice was served, or either people of a lighter skin tone were just victims of a bad rap, or wrong place at wrong time. You know what I mean? That's the way it usually ends up. That's the way that a lot of times it works out for us. But I think it's wrong. I think it's a double standard, and I think it should be addressed. But I think there are some ways that I'll share with you later that was actually, I can't take credit for it. It was Plies who actually said it. But I'll get to that in a little bit. But he said something real poignant. But I'm going to go over really fast the shit some of the shit that you can't do if you have a felony. Okay? So listen up. If you're a felon and you was out there and you thought you wanted to be a doctor, you can hang that shit up. You can hang it up. You can hang up being a doctor. You can't save lives. You can't rescue people. Doesn't matter how rehabilitated you've become. You will not be issued a license to practice medicine. You can't do it. And if you lose your license, especially on some fucking felony shit, your whole life is fucked. Anyway, because that's what you went to school for, and now you got a felony behind that shit, and now it doesn't matter that you went to school for that shit. So all that money thrown away. All that money thrown away. All that money thrown away, man. Another thing you can't do is a lot of places, they won't allow you to be a financial analyst, right? That's what my wife does for a living. She's a FA, and she is to the fucking letter, man. She's got a bit of an attitude, but she rides the fucking line, you know, and I'll tell you what, I could kind of see it in certain situations, but at the same time, like I said, sometimes felons get a really bad rap. Sometimes people are in the wrong place at the wrong time. It actually happens. And I can't take nothing away from that. But, hey, man, that's your decision. A lot of the decisions that you make are the direct cause of you having these fucking felonies. Like, it's not the system. It's not the man. It's the poor decisions that you make. That's what gives you these felonies. And the decisions, the poor decisions that you continue to make is what gives you multiple felonies. I mean, just think about it from that perspective. I mean, the more shit you decide you're going to be rebellious and fuck up, if you get caught, that's the more shit they're going to try to pin and tag your toe with it. Especially if you're a black man in America or in any kind of real minority in America. The kind of minorities that regular America or upstanding America doesn't really like. We're the ones that feel the force of that shit. You know, you could be the most minuscule shit in the world, and they want to throw the whole fucking book at you. They want to try to make charges about some shit that really don't exist in order to get you. Because that's what the system has been designed and created to do. But there's holes in the fucking system. As we just saw. As we're seeing right now. As we're seeing right now, for the first time in the history of our country, we are seeing that flaw. We're seeing that shit. We're seeing the wide open fucking bullshit that our judicial system and our political system and our political process at the same time is on. We getting a firsthand look at that shit. I mean, it's crazy because, you know, I'm not trying to sit up here and be a hater. You know, I'm not really, but maybe I am. But realistically, let's just put it in perspective. If Obama had done the same shit that this man did, he'd be on his way to jail right now. He'd be on his way to jail, right? They'd be trying to figure out a way to get this motherfucker in jail today. Right now, you got to go. If it was Obama. But there's some sinister shit at work in our country. There really is. You can see it firsthand. There's some sinister shit that's right here in our, right here in our faces. And it almost feels like motherfuckers is kind of powerless to do shit about it. Because, like it or not, this motherfucker knew he was above the law. He knew he wanted to be above. He stacked the deck. He stacked the fucking deck. That's what he did. Look at the Supreme Court. Stacked. Doesn't matter what the fuck he throws at the wall. It's going to stick. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This dude could come off with the most outlandish shit in the world, and it's going to get backing. Because look at what he did. He stacked the fucking deck. It's a shame for a lot of Americans. A lot of Americans that are already marginalized are going to continue to be marginalized because of the indiscretions of our justice system. They're going to allow someone with 34 felonies to be the president. It's like they're trying to make it happen on purpose. It's like they're deliberately giving him concessions so that he can be the president, so that he can run and stand and implement their ideologies, the ideologies of a total right American society, which does not align with a lot of people who fucking live here, me being one of them. But it seems like the train just gains more steam. It just seems like more and more people jump behind this motherfucker's rhetoric and bullshit. It just is fucking baffling to me how, seemingly intelligent human beings can overlook the absolute hypocrisy of this man. It's fucking crazy to me. And they stand up in it so firm, and they're ready to fight about it for real, for actual. And that's not funny, because they are. A lot of people are willing right now to put on flak jackets and camo fatigues and grab all their weapons and come out here and fight to the death on the behalf of this person. That's fucking serious, folks. This episode of the Darren Harris Podcast is being brought to you by BetterHelp.com. Listen, did you know that 1 out of 5 adults live with mental illness? How do I know that? Because I'm that 1 out of 5. I'm also 1 out of 21 million American adults that are affected by major depressive disorder. That means you or somebody you know, or maybe even somebody you love, is suffering. Even worse, they may be suffering in silence because they may be in denial, or maybe they just feel embarrassed. On the exterior, people who are affected can appear normal, we can appear grounded, and even happy, but the torment, the feelings of worthlessness, and the feelings of hopelessness that we feel is very much a real thing. And in my case, it never really goes away. Like, a lot of us relive traumatic experiences that have permanently affected us every day. Now, I know for me, and I know for others as well, these experiences are really personal, so they might be particularly hard to talk about with other people, including people we consider to be close friends or our family. The sad part is, because of this, many people who are suffering will never go out and find the help that they really need. Check it out. I got great friends and amazing family, as I'm sure you do. They mean well, but they absolutely are terrible as counselors. Fortunately, there's BetterHelp. No, actually, there's BetterHelp.com. That's BetterHelp.com, which is a website that is dedicated to helping people find the benefits of therapy on their terms. As a person that attends therapy weekly and one who understands and believes in the benefits of therapy 1,000,000%, trust me when I tell you a website like BetterHelp.com is a total game changer. Check it out, fellas. June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. So, fellas, there's no better time to take back your mental peace of mind and start your journey. So don't put it off any longer. Get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp, HELP.com/Darren to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Darren. Trust me, man, you'll be glad that you did. This person is coming here to hurt us, to strip us of all the protections that we were given after what the fuck happened here. To deny all of us, everyone and all of our families, all of our ancestors, the dignity and the respect for giving their lives to create a society that people want to deem the greatest society on the face of the earth. It's heartbreaking that people can actually stand up and get behind it. And they defend it, like I said, so adamantly. And it doesn't matter how dumb he or they sound. It doesn't matter. It's just his base ideology, which is white is first. And then after that, everything else. And that's wrong. It shouldn't be anybody first, second, or third, if you ask me. It shouldn't be anybody. It shouldn't be that. We look completely stupid as fuck. I made a post where I've stopped calling the United States and just called us the states, because we're not united. We really aren't. We look stupid on the World Forum as far as the way that the citizens of this country treat the other citizens. And that is in direct proportion to the laws that were created that have now spiraled out of control into the society that we have today. If you don't believe me, back it up and take a fucking look. I mean, you can back it all the way fucking up. Back it up, man. It's laws that were created directly to make us suffer or to keep us in a position of inferiority. And now that we're actually starting to, gain some accolades and get a little bit of burn, it's a problem. So now we got to shut it down. So now we have to do whatever is in our power to shut it down. We need somebody who is not afraid, who is going to stand up, and we will give him 100% of the backing. It doesn't matter how fucking stupid we sound, how racist we sound. It doesn't matter how hypocritical we sound. By any means necessary, this man has to be the president in order to further our goals, which is to change this country into a far-right state. And then from there, whatever rights they want to violate, it's all right. It's okay. Whatever infractions we commit are magnified. I'm talking all minorities. I'm talking minorities because, like I said, I'm not going to pull any punches about, that's not what it's about, Darren. Yes, motherfucking it is. Yes, the fuck it is. Yes, the fuck it is. That's exactly what the fuck it's about. The American flag has been hijacked. Okay? So now the American flag has taken on the same connotation, the same symbolism as the Confederate flag. Motherfucking right. Except for now, it's all over the country. It's just not confined to the South. But here we are. It's going to be a sad day, folks. I'm hoping for a meteorite is what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for the hottest, largest. I'd really like a meteorite the size of the Earth. If not, actually, I'd like a meteorite the size of Jupiter to come and mush this motherfucker, man, because, I'm sorry, but we fucked it up. If this was an experiment, if this was, we fucked it up. The humans have fucked it up. It wasn't the bears, wasn't the elephants, the giraffes, the dogs, cats, wasn't the fucking roaches, wasn't none of that shit that fucked it up. It was us who fucked up utopia. It was us. It's still us. It's going to continue to be us. It's sad. I'm going to take a break. I'll be right back. This is Darren Harris Podcast.
Go on then. Just go. Go north. Go south. Go here.
Go there.
Go uptown. Go downtown. This is not downtown. Go back to basics. Go fish. Then go fish. Go down memory lane. Just make sure you share the lane. Go dance like no one's watching. Go where you're absolutely sure that no one's watching. Go say I do. Then go out there and do it. Go Bears! Go Wolves! That's a wolf. Go, 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 go. And at the end of the day, when your tank is running low,
Go to sleep.
because tomorrow, we go on again.
Now, back to the Darren Harris Podcast.
Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Darren Harris. Yeah, I'm talking about double standards in the fucking government. That's what I'm talking about today. And I'm kind of ticked off about it. I really am, man, because it just shows you, it just goes to show you how we're not the greatest society, that we have a lot to work on. And we're never going to be the greatest society. Even after this person, even after they make this motherfucker the president on purpose, it's not going to be the perfect society. It's not going to be the society that they hoped for. It's not going to be this. It really isn't. It's going to be filled with a lot of angst and rebellion and hardship for everybody. It's not going to be this utopia that they think it's going to be, or that they think that they're creating, this all-white state that they think that they're creating. It's never going to be that. And that's why I think that it's important for everybody who does not share that ideology to show these motherfuckers that this is not the fucking shit. This is not the shit we stand for. This is not the shit that we should be standing for. I mean, for real, y'all. This is not the shit we should be standing for. Do I have to tell it to everybody? Do I have to tell it? I mean, for real, look inside your moral compass, man. And if you can sit up here and say for real, unequivocally, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, that you are 100% behind then you know what, man? Go jump the fuck off a bridge, man, because that means that you harbor hate, that you're just a hateful motherfucker, that you just don't care as long as your pockets are fine and as long as your house doesn't get robbed and as long as you're all right, that the rest of society doesn't really fucking matter. Because we don't matter to him. And the funny shit is, and I've said this before too, his supporters don't matter to him either. They matter to him until he gets what he wants. And then he just does what the fuck he wants. And everybody just kind of goes along with it. But I guarantee you, there are some things that he's done that has ticked off everybody. You know, somebody at one point or another. I don't necessarily agree with that, but, you know, I just like the fact that, you know, he wants to do this as far as this. You know, they blindly steer into it. They blindly jump off into the deep end with him. And it's just not a good thing for our country. So, other things that you cannot do. Emergency responders. You can't be a paramedic or any of that shit. You can't be in the security industry, definitely. You cannot work for the government. You can't work for the government. You can't work for the government. You can't be a teacher. Generally, they don't allow felons around children anyway, so you can't do that either. You can't be the janitor. You can't work at a school. Can't do any of that shit. You can't do any of that shit. But the thing that stood out to me was this. You can't work for the government. You can't work in security fields in the government. You can't work in any, you can't join the fucking, but you can run the fucking country? You can't join the military, but you can control it? How does that make sense? See how dysfunctional this shit is? See why some of this shit needs to be fucking amended? See why some of this shit needs to be fucking, like, re-examined? And say, hey, man, we need to fucking figure out, listen, we need to stop saying, oh, we can't change that. Yeah, we can, because that shit right there, that was for a different time. And that was for some motherfuckers that were also probably doing some shady bullshit as well. This is an opportunity to correct that shit. But instead, we're not going to take that opportunity. We're going to take the opportunity to burn books and ban health services to people based on their sexual orientation. That's what the fuck we're going to do. We're going to take this opportunity to discriminate against people because of their race. We're going to take this opportunity to catapult ourselves so far back in history, it's going to make your fucking head spin. The fuck you going to do about it, folks? Now, one thing having a felony doesn't do, it doesn't affect your credit. So if you were a felon and you had good credit, you got good credit. Sometimes the problem is, though, is with that good credit, you find it hard being approved for things like home loans and, you know, leases when you're a felon. Doesn't matter about your credit. It matters about how society views you. One thing felons can't do, another thing they cannot do is vote. Felons cannot vote unless you are in the state of Florida, which the governor of the state of Florida has made it okay for this one time for Donald Trump to vote for himself, to vote in this coming election, which is fucking preposterous. They're trying to make this motherfucker the president on purpose. They're just passing it off like a fucking baton so that he can run with the fucking ball. It's going to be horrible, y'all. It's going to be horrible. It's not going to be what y'all think. It really ain't. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, okay? They're going to get the society that they want. They're going to have the little gated communities where, no minorities are going to be welcomed, and, we're going to have our own, like the town in I think it was either Mississippi or Louisiana, where they won the court case to form an all-white town, but they still give black people a hard time because they want to create an affluent black neighborhood. I don't get that either. But anyway, that's a different story. But this is what's going on. These people are making they're making these towns. But like I said, but you know what's going to happen? They're going to find out that there ain't no fucking flavor here. There's no flavor. There's no diversity. There's not that je ne sais quoi. It's not there no more. It's not there no more. You know where it is? It's where all the people who think freely and they think as a collective and they think beyond racial barriers and they think beyond economic and social constructs. They think beyond all that shit. That's where all the flavor is. That's where all the realness is going to be. That's where everybody that is worth a damn is going to be. That's where everybody who has a real soul and they have genuine compassion for the human race, that's where those people are going to be. Not these self-proclaimed, greatest of all time, group of people. It's just not a sustainable thing. You know what I mean? Because there's other people on the planet. I could understand that if it was like, it was an all-white planet. If everybody on the planet was white, if I could understand that, And all of a sudden, there was some green people that came down and really started, causing some ruckus, and they didn't provoke anything. The all-white planet, they didn't provoke nothing. These people just came down here and started fucking with them on purpose. But that's not what happened. It was the other way around. They fucked with everything, broke everything, fucked everybody up for their personal gain, for their own personal gain. That's what they did. I'm not trying to sound harsh or hostile. It's the truth. But sometimes the truth hurts the worst. That's what the fuck happened. But it doesn't mean you have to continue to doesn't mean you have to stand up for it. Especially if you're a white person and you don't agree with this ideology. This is a prime time for you to stand up and say something. Vocalize yourself. You hear motherfuckers saying something, you check those motherfuckers, because the last thing they'd expect is one of their own to check them on their bullshit-ass behavior. But a lot of people, if it doesn't affect them directly, they don't say anything about it, and they just kind of, well, it doesn't affect me, so I'm just going to stay out of it. No, man. We need people like you to get active, because that's what changes the laws that have this place fucked up like it is. We need more voices to say that these things are fucked up. There's no way that you should be a felon and be the president. Shouldn't be that. Shouldn't be. There's no way you should have 36 felonies and you walking around on the fucking street today. Facts. And if it was anybody else, if it was anybody else, they'd be going to jail. But, maybe he might go to jail. But they're going to make all the concessions for you. He's got the fucking green light. I don't know. Maybe I'm from New York, so there's this analogy I'm about to make. There's this traffic pattern. If you're at the top of Manhattan, right, there's a certain mile per hour that you can go that will enable you to catch the light, the green light, from the top of Manhattan all the way to the bottom of Manhattan without any obstructions, and you could just go green light, green light, green light. As soon as you're pulling up on it, green light. As soon as you pull them up, green light, the whole way down. That's exactly what they're doing for this person. They're giving him the green light the whole way, no matter how many fucking branches this motherfucker hits on the way down. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's crazy of the hypocrisy that we have in this country. And even the other trials that this guy faces, the one in Florida, they're trying to get that shit thrown out. The one in Georgia, they just fucking postponed that shit. Why? Fucking why? Why? If it was somebody else, they'd be in jail already. If it was somebody else, we'd have had this trial and this motherfucker would be at the sentencing already. If it was Obama, it would be the other way around. But the reason why is because of the fucking judicial system is in cahoots with the political system in the state of Georgia. And it doesn't matter how many upstanding good citizens try to see this man come to justice. There's so many more evil people conspiring to help this man become the president because he serves their purpose. He backs their ideology, their sentiment, their feeling. We are better than all of you. But you're fucking not. Everybody's the same. Everybody's the same. Everybody's the same, man. That's the shit that don't get me. Everybody's the same, but these motherfuckers are about to place a vote that says that they are. I don't get it. That makes sense to me. I'm going to take a break, and I'll be right back. This is Darren Harris Podcast.
It's bold. It's sweet. It's sexy. Introducing new Stella Rosa Brandy in 3 fruit-forward flavors: smooth black, honey peach, and tropical passion. Ask your retailer for Stella Rosa Premium Imported Brandy. Please celebrate responsibly.
Now, back to the Darren Harris Podcast.
The FBI, after discovering new emails, is reopening their investigation into Hillary Clinton.
So that's exactly what happened to him, right? That's what I'm talking about here. That's exactly what I'm talking about here. There's a lot of shit going on, man. There's a lot of Wizard of Oz kind of shit going on. Motherfuckers behind the scenes really pulling the levers, doing all they can. They are doing the absolute most. It doesn't matter if this man breaks the law. It doesn't matter. How the fuck did this happen? How did one person quite literally become above the law? It's because he had help. Had a bunch of help. Man, it's I was listening to some of the things that he said about Clinton back when she was running against him. And he won. And all the things that he said about her. Everything. And it's not, listen, it ain't me, man. I mean, I know a lot of you people will want to be upset. Some people might want to be upset about what I'm about to say. But he said the same shit. He said the same shit that he's going through about Hillary Clinton. The same shit. Like I always say, people hate being guilty of the shit they're guilty of. I mean, really, man. I mean, that's fucking balls. You got to hand it to the guy, though. He's got the biggest balls on the face of the earth. Between him, Vladimir Putin, and fucking dude over in fucking in Israel, Netanyahu. They got the biggest balls in the world. They got the biggest balls on the fucking face of the earth, man. You got to hand it to them. But I said this on a podcast of mine a while ago, and it made me think. There's the fate of everybody in the world, all the little boys and girls of the world, the dogs, the air, everything that we love and hold dear to our hearts is at risk. Our entire safety, our whole existence is in the hands of about 8 or 9, 10 or 12 people that can't fucking stand each other. And that is downright unacceptable. We have this illusion that we are in control of shit, but really we're not. We're just helping them move around by accepting the lies that they tell us, accepting the bullshit they tell us. That's how we get here, is accepting that bullshit. It's kind of almost like let me just put the tip in. It's bullshit. It's bullshit because, once the motherfucker gets a tip in, he going to put the whole dick in you. And that's exactly what's happening. We're being fucked here, folks. I hate to say it, but we are. We're getting fucked. We're getting fucked. Craziness. Felons get to run for public office, which brings me to what I said a little while ago about Plies. Plies, I think, has solved the issue. I really think he has. But I think it might be too late. But shout out to Plies, man. Shout out to Plies for coming up with this, because that's brilliant, man. If you want this bullshit to stop, right? And this is as per my man Plies. If you want this bullshit to stop, everybody in the country who got a felony, in the sound of my voice, everybody in the country, if you have a felony, go run for office. Run for office. Run for office. That's the new flex, y'all. Running for office. It's not standing on the fucking street corners. It's running for office. That's the new flex. If you want power, it ain't in the fucking street game. It ain't into that shit. It's in politics. It's in making a way for you and your people to thrive and succeed. That is the new flex, everybody. All right? All the felons out there, okay? If you're a felon and you out on the street and you wondering what the fuck you should do, take your ass down to the county clerk's office and run for mayor. Run for fucking police chief. Run for fucking sheriff. Because you can run for office. Apparently you can hold public office and you can make policy even if you're a felon. Even if you're a felon. Get on the stick. But you know what? As soon as that happens, watch how fast they change this motherfucking law. Watch how fast they change that shit. And an absorbent amount of folks. And if you want to see people come out and vote, if you want to see people in the hood come out and vote, if you want to see people who are in marginalized communities that have been taken advantage of, come out and vote, let somebody that they can relate to for real run for president. For real. Somebody that says, hey, man, I'm going to come up here in the office and I'm going to make sure that everybody out here can buy a house legally. And if I find anybody doing any discrimination shit against anybody in the fucking country, you're going to lose your fucking license to practice any of that bullshit in the first place, period. But nobody wants to do that because nobody wants to stand up against the billionaires, the motherfuckers, the 1 percentile. The ones that made all the fucking money, the families that made all that money back in the days, those are the ones that are holding up the motherfucking train. All those old money families. I don't like to wish death on anybody. I really don't. But I think a lot of that old money needs to go ahead and go, man. It needs to pave the way for some people who actually care about actual people, man, as opposed to caring about some sort of fucking made-up hierarchy. I think it's the most ridiculous shit in the world. But it just gets more ridiculous. It's so crazy when I sit down and I've been listening to some of the things that he said about Hillary Clinton, and just just listen to this.
If Hillary Clinton were to be elected, it would create an unprecedented and protracted constitutional crisis.
So do you feel that way now? I know the answer to that is a solid ass no. He doesn't feel, I mean, it's like I said, it's a double standard.
Hillary is likely to be under investigation for many years.
But that's the thing. If he is able to become the president, then this man can pardon himself. He can make sure that he never faces any accountability for any of the shit that he's done. And that is one of the greatest American tragedies I have ever heard of in my life, if not the greatest. That is such a tragedy and a blow to democracy. I don't know, man. It's not making any sense to me why this person should be in charge of this country.
Probably concluding in a criminal trial. Her current scandals and controversies will continue throughout her presidency, and we will make it, honestly, look, it's going to be virtually impossible for her to govern.
Well, there it is right there, folks. The whole bag in a nutshell. Same shit. Same exact shit. People hate being guilty of the shit that they're guilty of. They don't want to face accountability for the shit that they've done, especially if they're narcissists, like we already know this man to be. But he is going to be who he is. It is up to us to figure it out. It's up to us to say, hey, man, are we going to let this happen to us? Are we going to let this happen to us? Or are we going to let, the worst thing in the world happen to us, which is the stripping of everything that we've worked so hard for in this country? There's so many things that have been dialed back already, so many things that have been repealed. And quite honestly, I don't have much faith in the Biden camp. I really don't. So all I got to say, everybody, is brace yourselves. I think that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Darren Harris Podcast. I do appreciate you folks for staying with me and listening. And I'm glad that you did, because I want everybody who is listening to know that I absolutely give a shit. I give a shit about you and everybody out there. And that's why I'm so passionate about the shit that I talk about. And that's why this means a lot to me. We got to start standing up, folks. We just have to. I want to thank my parents for being the best parents on the face of the earth. I really do. They're great people. They're fantastic people. They gave me a great moral compass, and I thank them for it every day. I want to thank my wife, who is equally as sweet and equally as compassionate and wants the whole world to win. The whole world. Not just these people or those people. I want to thank my best friend and producer, because a lot of this stuff we talk about. We talk about extensively. We rant to each other, and he tries to get the fucking the pot stirred and light a fire under my ass, which he's wildly successful at. So I want to thank this guy for giving me the passion and the tools I need to fight this fight. I want to thank Gentry Thomas for giving me the platform to fight this fight on, and I hope to continue to bring you guys more and more better content in the future. So again, I want to thank everybody out there listening to my voice. I could not be doing this without you. And if you guys are with me, I'll see you here at the same spot next week. All right? So until then, folks, I'm Darren Harris. Peace.
You've been listening to the Darren Harris Podcast. Subscribe to the show, give a good rating, and everything you need to know is at DarrenHarris.com.